Hello YouTube, I'm back because I got two kind of interesting questions actually that I felt deserved some time, and one was that someone asked me why should they subscribe to me, and when they already subscribed to someone, I forget who it was now. I think it was Chase, one of your subscribers, and I answered that question simply, and I'm going to do it in this video. I think you should subscribe to all the people that talk about the subject that me, Chase, Jeremy, The Miz, Byron, Gordy, anyone basically who covers this type of topic, because you want to get more opinions. I mean, you take one person's source and you believe that, then maybe you're not getting the whole story. Maybe there's a different point of view that you should know, and I mean, more opinions allow you more information to form your own opinion and what you think of the topic. So if you're an MMA fan, I highly recommend subscribing to any of us that do this type of thing, because what we think is different from what another person thinks. Chase and I might not have the same view on something. I might not have the same view as Byron. Byron and Jeremy may not have the same view. We see things in different ways, and that means we're going to interpret certain things differently, and we're going to tell you different things about, you know, what should happen, what's going to happen. Like, primitive example, we'll have a different opinion of a fight. Neither of us is wrong, we just see it going a different way. Or more appropriately, like, how do we see a certain fighter going up? I think we have different picks. Well, some of us are picking Shaolin to win the K1 GP, and others are picking Jay-Z. So that's just one example. And of course, we have different opinions of where an organization is going. Some of us were Pride fans first, some of us were UFC fans. I think we were all fans of MMA first and foremost, but we had a preference for what we wanted to watch. We prefer the cage, we prefer the ring. That's what I'm saying. We are different people. We are not going to say the same thing, so there is a point in subscribing to anyone. You support the MMA YouTube community, you learn more, and you become a more educated fan because of that. And that's kind of all the reason I think you need, to be honest. Next, the second question was, what do we think are my top 10 in each weight? I'm going to do just the heavyweight class today because I think it would take too long to do them all. But at heavyweight, I think number one in the world unanimously is probably Fedor Emelianenko. Some people are trying to take it away from him because he's been active. But the thing is, when you look at it, although I am tempted to possibly think of the fact that maybe the inactiveness should make him drop in rank, nonetheless, no one has gone on a tear. Josh Barnett hasn't. Mirko Cro Cop has not. Alexander Emelianenko or Antonio Nogueira, they have not gone on tears. I mean, even Randy Couture was inactive for a very long time too. So I think the point is mute, because I don't think anyone's successfully risen up in the time that Fedor has not been around to challenge Fedor in this regard. Number two, I see two different ways. In my opinion, it's probably Nogueira or Cro Cop. Those are 2 and 3. Cro Cop perhaps deserves the higher billing, but as much as I don't like using MMA math, there is the fact that Nogueira did beat Cro Cop. Now, both lost to Fedor, both have beaten Josh Barnett, and in my opinion, I counted the first Barnett-Nogueira fight as probably a draw, to be honest, because it was unfair to give either of them a loss after such a great fight. I know there had to be a winner because it was a tournament, but still. Some will say that Cro Cop deserves it because of the open weight GP. I disagree with this. I think Cro Cop had a very easy path through the GP with the Punk Minoa, Yoshida, Vanderlei Silva, and a very, very tired Josh Barnett, who had just finished a war against Nogueira. Now now you look at Barnett's. I mean, he fought Alexander Emelianenko, a top 10 heavyweight, Mark Hunt, an arguably top 10 heavyweight, well, so is Alex, but Mark Hunt's an arguable top 10 heavyweight too, and a definite top 10 heavyweight in Antonio Nogueira. I think we can agree that Cro Cop fought no top 10 heavyweights during his chase for the openweight GP crown. I think he only fought one heavyweight, and that's Yoshida. Even he is a blown-up heavyweight. I mean, Yoshida and Silva are both 205 fighters that were fighting in the GP, and of course, the Punk Manoa is easily the smallest fighter that was in the tournament. He's a middleweight. So that's kind of why I don't really factor that in as much. I mean, winning the GP is an incredible achievement, but it's not the level of being a Pride heavyweight champion such as Nogueira has, and a finalist in one of the best ones, the heavyweight GP back in 2004. So I give Nogueira the nod over Krokop. Fourth, I think this is a no-brainer too. We got Josh Barnett. Some would put Randy here, and I wouldn't really blame them, but I think Barnett, long-term, wins over the likes of Randy Couture, beat Nogueira, beat Alexander Emelianenko, Pavel Nastula. I mean, these are big wins, and I think that kind of shows it. I think he's probably the number 4 guy, and I'm open to putting Randy there, but I would have to hear a good argument for it. Personally, Randy, I'd put at number 5, because Randy Couture has only fought twice at heavyweight in the last, he since coming out of retirement, but they are big wins over Tim Sylvia, who's probably a top 10 on a lot of people's list, and Gabriel Gonzaga, who's also in competition for the top 10, and he's done it in devastating fashion. So I got Randy there. 6, this is where it gets really hard. I have Andrei Arlovsky at 6. He hasn't looked good as of late. He had some he had ugly fights with Verdum and Cruz that he managed to win, and of course the 2 losses to Tim Sylvia. But I think when you look at it, I think this might be me thinking more in terms of potential than actual achievement. But Arlovsky has the potential to be a top 5 heavyweight if he can get his game together, if he could fight like DeAndre of old. Number 7, I have Brandon Vera. Now, he lacks the big name wins, but he is undefeated, and I think there's enormous upside to him. He wins in devastating fashion. He's going to be fighting Tim Sylvia, so I think a win there definitely brings him up the rankings, and I think solidifies his position where I think he is. 7, I have Fabricio Verdum. Now, of course, people who are just UFC fans are going to say, Verdum, what is he doing in my top 10? But after seeing him fight Arlovsky, but this guy, when he fought in Pride, this is maybe the best ground fighter heavyweight, with the exception of Nogueira. I mean, he's fantastic on the ground, and his striking has improved. He has wins over guys like Alexander Emelianenko and Roman Zentsov. He had a fantastic fight with Sergey Haratonov, even though he lost it. He's a very good fighter, and I think that we can expect big things from him. Number 9, I have Gabriel Gonzaga. He moved up considerably after beating Krokop, but after losing to Randy, he goes down. I still think his only losses are Randy and Verdum, who are both top 10 heavyweights. He has a win over Krokop. I think this overall adds up to being a pretty solid 9. And this is in addition to people like Sergey Haratonov, Alexander Emelianenko, and Tim Sylvia recently having struggled. And also a big thing, I think, is Mark Hunt. I'm not entirely sold on the fact that he can make 265 on his spaces. Rounding up my top 10 is Fedor Emelianenko's little brother, Alexander Emelianenko, who has hit rough times lately, but I've had him as high as top 5 on mine before he hit these rough times, losing to Josh Barnett, Fabricio Verdum, and just not looking very good against Sergey Haratonov, even though he picked up the win. He has enormous potential because he's a huge man, and he trains with Fedor and Roman Zentsov at the Red Devils. That's a good team for heavyweights. It's not a good team for other weight classes because it's a bit deficient, but for heavyweights, that's a solid team. So that's my top 10 heavyweight. I'll do, and if my camera wasn't so fuzzy, I'd give you a tour of my res room. I've moved in, and unfortunately I'm going to be stuck with this camera until I can get a new one. So I hope you enjoy. I suppose I'm going to start calling myself the Blob because I'm formless in this camera. So as always, leave comments, disagree with me if you wish, but no random spam and no just flaming for the hell of flaming, because those will be removed and I will probably block you. So have a good one.